Hello everyone, it's Christine back for another episode of our Stitch Along where we're creating a fabric dictionary of stitches. And we're still working on blanket stitch, and I think we've got 2 more variations to go, including tonight. So the stitch we're going to be doing tonight, or today, depending where you are, is blanket stitch looped. And it's a stitch that you can use to create this sort of rosette effect, or just a decorative circle as I have done here. Now in the book they've demonstrated it using 2 colours like I have, but they've said that that's just for photographic purposes for the book. I think it's quite attractive, so I'm planning to do that on this side as well, but to alternate the colours, so to start with blue on the outside. But if you were doing it for a rose, you could just use a single colour all the way around, or you could use a variegated. I was toying with using one of my variegated yarns, but I wasn't sure there'd be enough variation in the sort of area that gets stitched with a single thread. You could also use 2 different colours of, for example, a pink to make a rose effect and give that sense of the light and the dark on a rose. So what you'll want to do is draw yourself a circle. I used a button for both of them, so a larger button and then a smaller one, just to get my large outline circle and then a smaller circle inside. You can do it whatever size you want. So once you've got your circle, you're going to take your needle and pop out just a little bit past the 12 o'clock mark on the inside circle. So I'll show you where I'm popping up about there. I'm going to take my thread out. I'm going to take my thread up and hold it over here. And then I'm going to take my needle down and pop out just inside the inner circle, and then take my needle out just a little bit inside the outer circle, and I'm going to put my thread underneath. So it will look something like this. And I don't think you have to get too precise. You just want to get that sort of that broad shape, that broad loop effect. So now I'm going to hold that out of the way, and then I'm going to move around a little bit further. I'm going to pop my needle in just inside the inside circle, and then I'm going to actually about there, I think, and then pop my needle out just part way through that outer circle. Let's see if we get the right shape. There you go. So you're just wanting to sort of follow around the shape of the circle, and you can move your fabric around as you go. And if you end up with a stitch that isn't quite right, you can always just sort of unwind it and just rethread. But I think it's pretty forgiving. When I did the first one, I wasn't terribly precise. It does say in the book to keep your loops even and consistent in size, but I think it's got a bit of forgiveness in it. So I hope you're all having a great day or great evening. So you just keep taking these little stitches from just inside into partway up, partway to the outer edge of the outer circle. I'll just come up a bit closer so you can see exactly. So I'm just coming in slightly to the inside of the inner circle, and then just bringing my needle out slightly short of the outside circle. So it's Friday night here. I think you'll be watching this on Saturday night. And yesterday I posted, well, it'll be a few days ago now, would have been Thursday night, I posted a video with a very exciting stitchery swap that has been coordinated by the wonderful Annie Claxton. Well, she's come up with the idea, and then those of us that want to take part, we need to coordinate our own swaps. But if you're interested in that, definitely check out that, that video. I think it's got exciting in the subject line of it. So it should be pretty easy to find. And I was also sharing an update on my Roxy Journal of Stitchery as well. So to complete the circle, take the needle to the back behind the first loop. So I guess that's where we are now, because the first loop was that loop there. So we'll take our needle to the back. Just like that. I was probably actually meant to take it a smidge over just to form that full circle effect. So I'll just do that here now with just a stitch. Okay. So I'm then going to tie that off, because now we'll do the next circle in yellow. But if you were continuing on, you'd just be bringing your repositioning your needle and bringing it to the front and then doing that. So if you do want to do it all in a single thread, I'll keep that bit of thread in that one, and I'll just have a look if I've got another largish eyed one to use for the yellow thread. I don't think this one is quite as thick as the blue. So the lovely Kimberly sent me some fantastic photos of what she has been stitching as part of this fabric dictionary of stitches. So I'm going to try and work out after I finish this video if I can post them in my community section so you can see them. Otherwise, I'll see if I can add them to the end of this video. So stay tuned, and I'll share with the others in the chat tonight when I'm chatting tonight, which will be last night's video, just to be totally confusing. In the live chat that goes with the premiere, I'll let you know how I've gone with that. But if you're watching this video, it will be after I've actually had that chat with you. I think I've totally confused myself now. Okay, so we're going to pop out to the front, just inside the previous circle of stitches. So I'm going to just come, I guess, just to the middle. So I'm going to pop out about there, just at my where my circle is. And then I'm going to just continue to work around, just making little stitches that go slightly inside that inner circle and slightly into other. Let's just have a look how this looks. Don't know if that one's a bit too long. I think that'll be okay. Actually, I think I have gone a bit too far with that one. So let's just untake that one out. Okay. So what we're going to do is we're going to pop the needle up just inside the previous circle of stitches. So I'll pop it up here where my other stitches started, and then I'll just take it a little ways down inside, and I'll put a stitch slightly inside the inner circle just to the edge of the inner circle. We'll see if we can get that first loop. So it's exactly the same process now of just moving around and just doing little snippy stitches just inside the circle. So you're wanting your little sort of thread loops to be almost overlapping. And so I'm just doing my little stitches sort of so they're coming up in the middle of the other stitches, if that makes sense. So I'm stitching just inside that inner circle area, putting my in and out stitch in that area. So that one I might have pulled a bit too tight. I want to leave a bit of a loop on it. So again, just coming just taking a bit of fabric before it's sort of like the outer, not, how am I going to describe this? Where the inner circle is, I'm doing my little in and out stitch in the area inside that inner circle. But again, have a play around, because you can have it more or less overlapping and it's still going to look great regardless of which you do. Now I'm just making sure I haven't stitched my fabric. Can be a bit risky leaving too much fabric around your square. Probably leaving even a bit more loopiness, I think. Okay. So we're almost round again. And so again, I'm going to just take my needle down behind my first stitch to get that final little loop. These I'm just going to make sure they're sort of pulling out loopy enough. And then I'll need to tie this off. So I think I did flag that this will be a longer episode, so we'll get more chatty time in the Premiere chat. So we're just going to bring our blue thread, as we did with the others, just up slightly inside of the circle where we've been working. Trying not to bring through threads from the back. And then we're going to do the same process, holding our thread up and then just starting to do little stitches just inside our previous circle of stitching. So we're always just working around and positioning our next stitch just inside and in between the loops of the previous. And you can go as close or as sort of separated out depending on what effect you're wanting to create. No rules again. That's the great thing about stitches. You can use them for a whole lot of different purposes. And you can play with them, combine them, have fun with them. Even something that you think might not sort of be looking quite right, you might be able to turn it into something else. You might even create a whole new stitch. I've just loved the stories from our watchers who say, oh, I've been doing that stitch. I didn't know it was an actual stitch. I was playing around and created that one. So very cool. I don't know if I can claim to having created a stitch yet. For a while there with the back stitch, when I saw the book, I thought, oh my goodness, I'm doing a totally different stitch from the one in the book. But turns out it is a version of back stitch. Even though if you ask most people, they'd just say, no, there's only one version of back stitch. But no, in the world of stitchery, there are so many stitches. In fact, the lovely Kimberly's given me a whole lot of other bee stitches. So I hope you're not going to bore of this dictionary of stitches. But I'm kind of keen to, do the ones that are additional to the ones in the book. I'm just having, a lot of fun learning. Something really, really good about learning. Now, you have to be careful when you come round to where your knot is. If you feel a bit of resistance, it may be that your thread's trying to go through your knot, and that's what I think was happening to me just then, and I don't want to catch the knot. In fact, I can feel it happening again. I'm going to just have to see. There's a lot of knots all in the one spot because that's where we've been coming up the whole way around. And if you capture your knot, sometimes you accidentally pull it through to the front of the fabric, and you definitely don't want to be doing that. So again, I'm going to take my thread to the back and tie off. I'll try and tie off a bit away from there so I don't keep having that problem with a mass of knots. Okay, I'll keep that threaded, and now we'll get our next little yellow to go around. So I was just having a stroke of the twisted detached blanket stitch. Or as someone said, they look like little worms. I still think they look like bananas, and that one's the Kimberley stitch. But someone else, who else was it that said they use a similar stitch but join it together to make little loops on zips, which is very cool. So again, popping out near to where those other pop-out places were, and then just continuing around just inside, doing those little stitches to make the little loops. And by now, it's actually really hard to see where the exact little centres of the previous loops are. So I think I'm just going to work around just doing it approximately where I think it should be. Oops, don't want to capture the outer threads. I'll just have to take care when doing that. Oops. I do wonder if this one might be easier to work if it's not in the hoop. I'm not sure. Let me know if you're stitching not in a hoop. Let me know how you find it. Oops. I just did slightly the wrong thing there, but I'm just going to go to the back from there. I'm happy I've got enough loops in that little section. And this one's definitely giving me more of that sort of, that overlappy rosy effect, I think. So I've done this one just a little bit closer. So it's nice to have two variations on the same theme. Just get rid of that bit of thread that's coming off the fabric. Okay, I'll keep that one aside, and then I need my blue again. Just keep making sure they're all sort of sitting where I want them to be. So let's just put a knot in the end of our blue. And so I think we're almost, probably not quite, maybe we'll do one more. I'm not sure whether we'll actually even get to do our little centre French knot. Maybe we can still fit it in blue. I mean in yellow. Maybe with that one I probably did the knot a tiny bit big. I did a few loops around, so it was probably a bit on the thick side. I hope I haven't just caught, I don't think I've caught a notch, although I might have, but that's okay. We'll just keep going. But again, be careful if you feel resistance like I did just there, don't continue like I did and keep sort of badgering on. Check what's going on the back, and otherwise you do risk pulling your knot through, which you don't want. Definitely getting quite dense in the centre here now. So I think we are almost one more stitch with the blue, and then I think we're up to doing a little French knot. So that's what that's looking like. Over here and tie it off. our good old friend, the French knot, which I demonstrated on a previous episode when we were doing the pinwheel. So if you go to the end of that, I've done some French knot demonstrating there, but I'll show you here as well. It is going to be hard because of all the knots that are there at the back, so I'm just going to have to take care when I come through. So I'm going to pop my needle through in the very middle of my ruse, and then I think I'll just do, maybe I'll just do 2 twists. So what I've done is I've got my needle. I'm going to put my thread over it once and over it twice. Now you don't have to do the 2 wraps, you can do a single wrap. I'm then going to angle my needle back in where I came up. I'm going to make sure my thread that I wrapped around isn't too tight, because what I need to do is keep the little rosebud on the surface there and just take the thread through to the back. So let me just tie it off and then we can have a look together at the finished effect. I even like the back, it looks like a firework. I always say the backs of the work is sometimes the most, well, not the most interesting bit, but they're certainly interesting things to look at. So there we go, that is, I think I just need to, let me just grab my needle. I just feel I need to pull these yellow ones just so they sit a bit further. That's better. Just giving it a bit of preening. There we go. So as you can see in my first example, you can even see where the lines were, so it wasn't as densely packed with stitches, because how many rounds? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then only a very small, you can barely even see the yellow in that one. So here I think I was just, yeah, more overlapping my various rounds. But yeah, I think it's a really effective stitch, and I definitely look forward to doing it, trying it in all one colour, but hopefully that gives you a bit of an idea, and you can have a play around yourselves. And that brings this evening's stitching to a close. So tomorrow we are going to be doing the last of the variations of blanket stitch, and we're going to be doing blanket stitch scallops. I'll give you a quick look what they look like. So we're going to be marking a pattern like that onto the fabric. So we'll come to that tomorrow. We'll work on it together. No need to worry. We will problem solve it together. So thanks everyone for watching. And I think you'll be watching this tomorrow night. So I hope you're having a wonderful weekend, or some of you will be just starting your weekend. I think I get very confused with all the times. Take care everyone, and I will chat to you soon. Bye.